Baldwood presents Men of Iron, written by M.J. Porter and read by Antonia Beamish and Simon Madog.
Chapter 1. Meddi of the Eorlingas, to the east of the River Hebron, Western Britannia, AD 540. "It's time!" the rough voice calls to me through the thin wattle and daub walls of my workshop. I despise its coarse appearance, yet it gives me the privacy I need to perform my secretive rites. I feel my forehead wrinkle, tongue poking through thin lips, examining the object before me with its 4 leg-like appendages and 5th projection that I'm convinced looks like a head. There's some magic here. What, I'm yet to understand, but I will understand it, eventually. I need only to study it carefully, and perhaps in better light. After all, it is much, much smaller than my finger, and I examine it more by touch than sight. "It's time!" the familiar voice repeats. I shake my head. Madog, my half-brother, has the worst timing. My thoughts are elsewhere. Why does he disturb me like this? I need time to consider this treasure brought to me by the farmer and warrior Eorlin, unearthed when he was preparing the hard and unyielding ground for the new crops. Eorlin knew its home was with me, the seeress of the Eorlingas, the woman who will understand such magics as this. "Time for what?" I lift my voice to reply, knowing he won't leave me alone if I don't, endeavouring to keep the frustration from being audible. He's always been the same, my half-brother. 20 winters younger than me, and yet the leader of what remains of our people, the once mighty Eorlingas of Villa Eorlingas. There was a time when I hardly knew him. That's no longer the case. "Sister!" The words lack all respect. He shouldn't address me as such, even if it is correct. Well, half-sister would be the proper terminology, and the same father, a different mother. I turn and hiss at him as he allows bright sunlight to filter into my darkened hut by lifting the leather door covering, blinding and distracting me, I'm convinced, from some important thought I was about to have. Now it'll take me time to return to the same half-awake, half-sleeping state. How he annoys me! Younger brothers are all the same. "By all the gods!" I growl, eyes turning to observe him. In the half-light, half-shadows of early morning, I see his familiar wide forehead, the russet-coloured drooping moustache that marks him as a man of not inconsiderable means, and then my eyes narrow. He knows his place amongst us. He understands how to stand aloof from the warrior men who serve him, from the farmers who render him barley, wheat, milk, cheese and wool, who come to him in supplication to ask that his most virulent bull or most stunning stallion service their cows and mares. But now he's dressed for war. Even the ancient but shimmering disk of the golden torque, with its twin twisted horse heads at its ends that usually encircles his long neck, is missing. Unbidden, anticipation stirs within me. "It's time?" I question, the item I'm considering forgotten about as it slips from my hands to thud gently to the ground. I think of the deer entrails I examined only yesterday. They spoke of something monumental. I told him as much. There are no secrets between us. "Yes, sister, or seeress, or whatever you desire me to name you this day, it is time. Now hurry, if you wish to join me. News of his death will quickly spread. We're not alone in desiring the villa." A curve of his thin lips, so similar to mine, and I know he's as excited as I am. We've been waiting too long for this occurrence, almost since the moment of his birth. I turn. Marchel's huddled in the corner of the room. She's a creature of no words, but she aids me. Now she presents the ceremonial dagger to me, the copper blade dulled with age. It's been handed down in the female line of the family for generation upon generation, just like the golden torque around my brother's neck, which passes from father to son, with the odd uncle, brother, and male cousin included. I smile and take it from her with the reverence she accords it, hurrying to find my cloak and the most important item of all, the ancient, battered copper breastplate that's tarnished with antiquity but still serviceable thanks to the special care it's received over the many winters and summers of its existence. I'll not fight with copper blade and bark shield, but I must look like I will. Unlike my brother, I keep my twin horse-headed torque in place around my neck. Tend to Rianne, I order Marchal. Her time is close. It's this that I thought yesterday's auguries referenced. I was wrong. I also direct this to my brother. He should be here when his first child is birthed, as should I. But we're needed elsewhere. Add the comfrey to the flames. I direct Marchal, her gaze downcast. I think she'll ignore me, but she nods, focusing again on me. She's a ruin of who she was. She once stood in my place. No more. Now she serves me. She's taught me all she knows. All of it. On pain of death. Our respect for one another is tempered with the knowledge that I can always overwhelm her physically. Now she relies on her wisdom to remain relevant to me. I admire her, but would never say as much. I don't know what she thinks of me. Sometimes I don't care whether she hates me or not. Other times I certainly do. There have been moments when she could have ended my life with the concoctions I've allowed her to prepare for me when I was at my weakest. Even then, with her magiks, she must have known what I would become to her, and yet she aided me anyway. Her reticence is something I wouldn't share. Outside, as I secure my cloak with the precious copper horsepins that are as ancient as my breastplate, I realize now the warriors of the Eorlingas have been preparing. They try not to watch me as I emerge from the ruin of my sunken hovel with its dirt floor and step into the brightening daylight. I ensure the shimmer of my copper blade and breastplate is seen, despite their tarnishing. That my long hair and its tangle of clacking talismans that mark me as a seeress are visible. That the pouch I wear at my waist, containing the secrets only I can ken, are seen. The men dread me and the terrible scars that mar my once beautiful face. They should. Their women, daughters and mothers know not to fear me, although they do revere me. Men are frail creatures, like to jump at the smallest of noises. Women know the truth of all. They understand that I know all there is to comprehend, even the reason why the birds fly south in the cold months and return in the warmer ones. They know me, they see me, and I see them. The men do not possess such knowledge. They're not creatures of our surroundings as we are. That's how it should be. Some warriors are mounted on the few fine steeds that still belong to my people. Many are not. They carry spears on the tip of long wooden shafts, and if they're lucky, a form of shield as well. Shields are needed but difficult to make without the required copper or iron and the skills to form them. Instead, the bark from a willow tree must be just right. The tree must be the correct age, with enough of the bark showing to ensure that when it's stripped away, it will continue to flourish. We can't kill the tree in the process, or it's counterproductive. Why kill a tree to protect a man? Warriors can be grown far more quickly than a willow tree can be nurtured from its smallest branches. The bark must be bent back on itself, but not too far to cause it to snap. Too many potential shields have been broken by those inattentive to the task. The bark must be just wet enough, just malleable enough. These are the secrets to making a good shield from the bark of the willow tree. Not everyone possesses them. Some of the warriors have other, heavier shields made of copper or iron. They're old and tarnished, like my breastplate and dagger. Treasured family heirlooms. Special items gifted to the most successful of my brother's warriors. Or the most arrogant. My brother is not above rewarding men who I would rather see dead in battle. I eye them appraisingly. We're not a huge force. We've always lacked a good quantity of men to fight for our people. But since that bleak day, almost coinciding with my brother's birth, I've tried to bring more fighting men within the tribe. I offered what little we had to tempt them, and sometimes used my skills to bring their women so that the men must follow. Now we'll not be overtopped by the enemy. I pray to all the gods. The day isn't far advanced. I've been awake all night. I might regret that with all there is to accomplish today. I turn to my tall brother. He nods, a smirk on his familiar face, as he tells me the news I've been desperate to hear for most of his lifetime. It happened late last night. Now, we must hurry. My cream-coated mare's brought forth by one of the young boys who won't be joining the attack. She's a gentle creature. She should be cantankerous and difficult, as behooves my position as seeress, but she and I have been friends for over 10 summers. We know each other too well. Carefully, my brother holding the reins, having taken them from the boy, with a smile, I mount and make myself ready. Men of Eorlingas, today we take back what was stolen from us long ago. Today we will triumph. Our revenge has been too long delayed, but no more. Ragged cheers greet my words, a distinctly feminine, soft grunt of pain following on behind from within one of the run-down buildings. I look to my brother. He shrugs. The work of his wife will be done while he's absent. It's to be hoped that both he and she and the child in her belly will survive this day. I look at his stronghold, the buildings with their thatched roofs in need of repair, the dilapidated grain store waiting for fresh produce to fill it later in the summer, to the enclosure where his bull grazes alone. There should be cows there for the animal to service, to the enclosure where the horses should graze, but every single one is currently being ridden. We've fallen low since my brother's birth. I don't lie when I say that this day we will be victorious and restore ourselves to the former glory we held. Our neighbours will fear us, will no longer be afraid. We've suffered, we will triumph now. With his arm raised high, the sunlight shimmering off his breastplate and the iron at his waist, Madog leads us as we ride out. His warriors hasten to join him, some running, others riding. I follow, urging my pliant mare onwards. I must witness today's success. It'll be as much mine as Madog's, for all he'll provide is the strength of his warriors to reinforce that of my new life's work. My lips curl as I consider those who currently hold Villa Eorlingas, and who have changed its name to Villa Edern, as though this would make it theirs and wipe out the decades of my family's control. I've been hungering for Edern's death for many summers. Unconsciously, my hand sweeps over my cheeks, feeling the deep cuts there that have forever scarred me, the ones that ensure I never risk looking in the shimmering surface of iron or gold as one of my calling should do. And they're only the visible marks. The others are hidden beneath my dress and between my legs from view. Even I dare not look at them, but I feel them, every day, all the time. They've made me who I am. I grip my copper dagger tighter. How I wish I'd wielded the final blow that ended his life. Damn the bastard. Eorlingas should have died many winters ago. His continued existence has forced me to doubt myself and my gods. But no more. We ride through the desultory defences of our home. The wooden struts atop the ditched embankment need replacing, the ditch clearing. But my brother's concern is with the fields and streams running towards the vast river Hebron that provide him with produce. He says he must feed his people. Only then can he consider other matters. It's taken much persuasion on my part to ensure the men were trained to fight and had the equipment they needed for this day. He argued the wars are over. He stated the warriors are all dead or gone from this shore. On this, we disagreed. The eyes of women old, young, and meek watch their men leave. They incline their heads when they see me, or meet my gaze fully. The older women know not to fear me. I've seen them through many tribulations. Those who are even older perhaps feel more conflicted. They owe Marcel much more than they do me. All the same, they expect much from me. I'll see it done. The journey's accomplished quickly. The sweat coating the bodies of those who run is an unwelcome reminder of men and their desires. My lips curl. Not that it's their fault. They've never harmed me. They wouldn't dare lay a hand on the seeress of their tribe, the woman who sees all, even into their heart's desires. The sun illuminates the red tiles that still adhere to Villa Eorlingas' roof ahead, the vast river glinting in the near distance behind the villa. This was once my home. It hasn't been for many summers. I note how some of the tiles on the roof have been replaced with grass. I growl, the fool. I told Eorlingas to seek new tiles, well, old tiles that could be freshly applied to the roof, having been robbed from long-abandoned buildings within Glevum. Not that he ever listened to anything I said. The bastard. Our arrivals met with shouts and shrieks from those tending the growing barley within the haphazard enclosure, the flock of 30 sheep out grazing, and the 10 cattle mixed among them. Bright eyes seek out my brother, leading his warriors, shimmering with the protection of his position. With short commands, his men are sent running forward, skipping over the ditch and ramparts as though little more than pebbles. The warriors of the Eorlingas need not kill these people, but these people must not defend themselves either. Over the last 20 summers, Eorlingas' strength slowly waned. Now we'll reap the rewards of his continued arrogance. If ever a man thought time changed nothing, it was him. He didn't see the ruins of his plans as clearly as I did. Those on horses ride onward, their speed increasing. I allow them to carry on ahead of me. There's work to do before I can be assured of my arrival, although those who see my brother and recognize him quickly look for me. I note a few bow their heads low. Others appear confused. They're too young to remember. They should have been taught better by those older and wise. I note the granary store, as devoid of produce as my brother's. I look at the horses. There aren't as many as there once were, perhaps only 12, and a few ponies mixed amongst them. What has the fool done with the wealth he stole? Lost it, no doubt, as he has everything else. But my eyes are drawn to the still-standing, red-tiled building time and time again, and the complex of buildings close to it, neatly arranged in lines. I know what I will find inside Villa Eorlingas. I smile to know it will soon be in my possession once more. Not It appears that Eorlingas' few remaining warriors are to permit it to happen without bloodshed. Again, I curse them for lackwits. They should allow this to unfold peacefully. After all, it's never been doubted. My brother and his swiftest warriors leap into the mass of 20 or so outraged men, forced from their hall, drunk with grief for the Lord. Eorlingas' body will not yet have been sent to the afterlife. I think of all I'll take from him. I think how powerless he is to stop me. I wish I could have done this while he lived, but it was impossible. He must have known, as he lay dying, that he'd lose all. He should have lost it long ago. Even in death, a man may not evade the consequences of his actions. Ahead, my brother skewers one of Eorlingas' warriors through the chest, hair wild, arms reaching with his knife. I recognize him and snarl. I'm glad he chokes his last on the dust of the horse's hooves. More and more fall. I watch this pathetic fight with amusement. The shrieks of these men are like ravens circling overhead. They don't concern me. They might tell me a lot, but I don't see it. Not yet. Sister! Blood splattered, mouth open in a broad grin revealing the black of my enemy's blood on his teeth. My brother invites me to dismount a short while later. The smell of death permeates all. Chickens cluck through the enclosed courtyard, pecking at splatters of pooling madder as though grains. 2 dogs argue over the severed hand of one of the dead men, muzzles bright maroon. Eorlingas' hunting hounds. Soon they'll be mine to command. We'll find the best deer, the most vicious boars, the remaining bears. The way is clear. Villa Eorlingas is yours to command. I squeeze his hand tightly as I dismount, pleased with him. He's become the man I always hoped he would be, even when he was a small child, wobbling on unsteady legs, and I placed a wooden spear in his hand, much to the disgust of others. Where is she? I hiss. If I couldn't bring about Eorlingas' death, there's another whom I'll sate my bloodlust upon. Inside, Madog offers. All the women are, untouched as you once ordered. I turn to eye the warriors who surround my brother. Sweat beads their skin, burgundy shimmering on hair and weapons, hairy chests heaving, eyes alight with bloodlust. I know what they wish to do. They'll not do it. I'll not allow it. They know it, yet their blood runs hot. They would be better at home, with their women. I'm sure they'd enjoy seeing their men so filled with vigour. Come with me, I urge Madog, stepping into Villa Eorlingas. I look down, my bare feet walking over the familiar tokens of an age I don't remember, of an age few recall. This is myth beneath my feet, but it belongs to me now, as it should always have done. As ever, the small coloured pieces of stone forced into an intricate pattern have been swept clean. They shimmer with brightness once more, the local stone colourings of white, grey and brown, the additional pieces of startling blue and occasional baked red, depicting a stallion in its prime and a mare in hers. Eorlingas' pride and joy, more so than his bull and his stallion. Mine now as well. I will make the correct use of them. I stop and examine the images picked out in the shiny pieces of stone, some bright, others dulled with age. I would bend and run my hand over it and welcome it as a long-lost friend in a warm embrace. But I don't. Today is momentous enough, as I always knew it would be. It has taken longer than it should. These stones beneath my bare feet will wait a little longer. Seeress, Madog intones, reminding me there's more to do, and Before these people, using my title, not my relationship with him. For all I think him young and foolish, in this he shows much wisdom. The main room, glistening with bright light from the remnants of white paint, yellowed now with smoke from the hearth at its centre, where it should not be, is filled with sobbing women and children, bowed low, not daring to look at me, while the fountain stands silent. I shake my head to see that. It should trickle with the water of life, and not the blackened remnants of the fire placed at its heart. It appears the fool had even lost the ability to warm these rooms using the correct means. Eorlingas there, laid out for all to see, awaiting his burial. Small iron tokens have been placed on his eyes to ensure he's unseeing. With relish, I remove them. I consider pissing on his ugly face, revealing my secret wounds to him in this moment which he inflicted upon me, but stop myself. This room is mine now. I'll not soil it further than he has already done. He's not worth it, now he's dead. Eorlingas as unsightly in death as he was in life. He was always a tall man, bulky with a bulbous nose and small, hooded brown eyes. Now that they see nothing, they hold more life than when he lived. He was a cold and calculated man. A woman wails close to him, unheeding of my arrival or that of my brother. I know what some of Madog's men would do with her. I'll not allow it. Eorlingas showed me the worst of all men. I strive to ensure my brother and his adherents don't make the same mistakes. Ellen! I snap her name. She looks up, lower lip trembling, pale, thin face revealing red-rimmed green eyes, despite the artful arrangement of her dark hair. There's a fine, twisted golden torque encircling her neck, and twin penannular brooches on her shoulders in the form of horses hold the rich fabric of her bright red dress in position. I grimace. They once belonged to me. I showed them off better. She's too thin to fill the dress as it should be worn. Hungrily, I eye the collection of iron keys at her waist, the little bag beside them containing all I once claimed. Meddi, she spits, finally realizing what's happening. Indeed. I see the bastard's dead, at long last, I retort, chin raised. I would not suffer many people to speak to me like this. She should use my title, but I know her ways. This is meant to anger me. You witch! You killed him! You always said you would! She shrieks, maddened with grief, but more likely fearful he's barely cold and already her worst fears have come to fruition. And how did I do that, when I'm only just arrived, and he's stiff in death? I kick his body, just to prove the point. A loud fart sounds. There's fury in my voice, but I smirk at the familiar noise from a body that should be silent. She bows down, covering her face, wailing again as though my arrival has allowed the sound to ensue, while I wrinkle my nose at the stink erupting from the corpse. She's always been a bloody fool. You! She begins on looking at me once more. You! She continues, flailing for words. Madog moves through the other women, keen to take his place as the leader of these people. I don't watch him. My focus remains on Ellen. She and Eorlingas, both bastards. What are you doing here? She demands, even though it's self-evident. I've come to take what's mine. Bending, I reach down and yank the girdle of her dress undone, deigning to use my iron blade to cut through it, even though I have to saw at it because the edge is so blunt. I snatch the pouch and the keys from where they tumble to the floor. Villa Eorlingas isn't yours, she howls, no doubt looking for her warriors to defend her. She was always slow to realize what was happening around her. I once suggested to my brother that someone who cared so much about her appearance had no wit to look further than her own nose. His laughter cheered me, even if it was forced. Men have always desired Ellen. I don't know why. Her beauty is far from unsullied. A little late, I murmur, running my hands through the pouch and feeling the familiar weight of the keys which once marked me as mistress of Villa Eorlingas. "What will you do with us?" she shrieks, scrambling back on her knees, no doubt to merge with the other wailing women, only to come up against the unyielding legs of my brother's warriors. They've separated her from the others, as I commanded. She's to face her future alone. She's not truly one of these people. They'll be welcome. You will not. I don't hide the scathing glower from my face. You should join your dead lord. She shudders, hand going to her belly, unbidden. I laugh. Really? You're with child? I question. Edairn was an old bastard. That there's no son to take his place is down to his failure to prove his fertility despite his best efforts. He'll not have managed it now, so close to death. She once more fails to take advantage of her position. Lock her up in the grain store. We'll reveal the truth of that possibility. She's to have water and 1 meal a day, nothing more. The grain store? Madog questions, while Ellen continues to fumble, desperate to evade the reach of my brother's warriors. Urian bends to obey my instructions to take her away, accompanied by Torch. Once we know you're as hollow as I was, you may be allowed to leave, I offer, dismissing her with a flick of my fingers. I wish to breathe in the air unfouled by her presence. That might take until the harvest, Madog counters, his voice betraying conflicting emotions. It may, or it may not. If she's with child, he or she must not live. A shriek of outrage and a lower murmur of unease from the other women. Perhaps it would be better to kill her. I turn a furious gaze on them. They've not known a seeress for 20 summers. They must be reminded of the magiks I possess. I would much sooner she was dead. It was my intention to have her killed, if she still lived. But if my brother blanches at keeping her captive, I know I'll have no luck ordering her death. Not yet, anyway. No, no, Ellen cries desperately, finally apprehended between Urian and Torch, 2 of the strongest men who serve my brother. Lock me in the grain store! You heard her. I flick my fingers again. The men show no unease, although they do perhaps eye her small, heaving breasts with too much appreciation. My brother remains conflicted, watching her being led away, emotions rippling over his face. You will kill any child? He questions. No doubt thinking of the babe his wife now labours to bring forth, and perhaps mistrusting me to allow it to flourish. I'll kill any child of this foul union and disperse it alongside its bastard father, perhaps alongside its mother as well. It would be better if Ellen was dead. My brother's forehead furrows, but he bites down on his complaint. I also have power over him, even if he doesn't like to acknowledge it as often as he should. Ensure no one touches her, I instruct my brother, mindful men are fools where their cocks are concerned. No one will touch her, he reiterates, face twisted with disgust at the thought. Now, I've other tasks to attend to, I inform him, sweeping my gaze over the bowed heads of the women who clutch one another in grief and fear. Is Angharad here? I question. A shuddering sob greets my words. No, mistress, one of the women is brave enough to tell me. Edairn bed her, and she died in childbirth. My fists clench. The bastard lived too long. Admittedly, I doubt the child was actually his. But people tell themselves the stories they need to hear, even Edern, while women will do what must be done to earn a position of respect. "You'll assist me, then," I inform the woman, noting the streaks of grey through her once auburn hair. She was perhaps beautiful when she was younger. I don't recognise her, though. She's not lived here for the span of my brother's life. She came afterwards. "Tell me your name," I request. "Shan, mistress." She pushes to her feet. I note her sagging breasts and half-ripped dress with a snarl. "Find yourself a new dress," I order her. "Take what you will from Ellen's clothes and meet me at the workshop." She bows her head, eyes glimmering. She's quick to realise what I've come for. Edern's death will return something most precious to me, and something he should never have deprived me of possessing.
Chapter 2. Waermund of the Uirve, close to the Wash, eastern Britannia. I eye the smoking ruins of the great circular hall and dwellings of the settlement with a wolf smile on my lips, aware as I grin that blood tinges my face, pulling it tight as it dries, perhaps masking the purple stain that's marked me since birth. Wagga thought to disparage me, but I've repaid him for that kindness. The pale and marbling flesh of those who served my brother calls to me. I've triumphed here. I've overwhelmed the snivelling wreck I always knew him to be, despite his posturing and him having my father's support. "Hervok," I called to one of my men. His long hair is blonde, but stained dawn red, his right arm slashed and flooding with blood, although he seems unaware. He was the first to swear his oath to me last summer. He was the first I recruited to aid me in ending my brother's life and taking my vengeance against my father. "Wærmund." His booming voice is flushed with triumph. It's too soon for the fatigue of his endeavours to make itself known. "Are they all dead?" I stand, blade to hand, shield resting on the ground before me, beside the cooling body of my damn brother, the arsehole. I feel no remorse for killing him. If anything, I'm embarrassed for him. He hardly put up a fight, and yet he thought to send me from this place of water and fens, damning me as cursed by the gods because of my birthmark in mimicry of my father. I can hardly say it was a difficult fight. He barely knew which way round to hold his seax. Now there's nothing left of this settlement. No one will wish to dwell in this dead place on a slight rise between two surging streams. I confess I've perhaps done more damage than I expected. I reason it this way. My brother was the leader here. My father would never have allowed me to command in my younger brother's place, even when I proved his weakness. And so I've done the only thing that made sense. I've killed him and his people. I've ensured the settlement they called their own is inhabitable from this day onwards. "All of them," Hervok confirms, raking in the rest of the men who stood with me, as well as a few women. I nod, pleased, and bend to cut the long blonde hair from my brother's head, and in the process release the wealth of silver and gems he wore mingled with it. They clatter together, a gentle sound against the violence of moments ago. He did nothing to earn such riches, but my father rewarded him all the same, just because he wasn't forever marked by the gods as I was. I spit on Wagga's upturned face. How I hated him. My father named him after his father, as though even his very name should make him a future leader of the comitatus of the Uirve, as though not giving me the name, even as the older son, marked me as inferior. Now I've had the ultimate revenge against him and my bastard father, and his father before him. They all treated me as though I was shit on their boots because of my birthmark. I'll have the last word on that. A pity really only my father lives to see it. Black smoke billows in the cloudless sky, driving away the irritating insects that leave itchy welts on my skin. It won't be long, and all will see this rising from the flat fenlands, not just the insects. No doubt my father, Wichled, leader of the Uirve, will summon his warriors to join him in determining why the settlement of Wagga burns. But I don't plan on being here then. He'll find my brother's dead body. It won't take him long to understand why his beloved son is dead. We must find it, I urge Hervok. He nods and likewise spits on the cooling body of my brother before him. Wagga wasn't above tormenting others my father had cast aside from his comitatus. Both of us pant from our exertions. We've killed and done what needed to be done. Despite my confidence and bold words to those who pledged me their oath throughout the last year as I plotted vengeance, there was never a guarantee we'd triumph. I'm grateful we did, but now I must take what I need to continue my life elsewhere. I've accomplished what was needed first, my brother's death. Striding onwards, I stop before the round wooden hall my brother once called his home. It's not small. Luckily, it doesn't smoke. Yet. I stamp inside, but I know better than to find what I'm looking for within. But I want something else as well, something denied me because my brother had it. Forcing aside the animal skin flap that covers the door on a summer's day to prevent the flies from getting within, I make my way to the other room, the one at the back, where Wagga once slept. Here, there's another door, a flimsy thing made of willow sticks. I sniff the air when entering, smelling all that's left of my brother's life, like a hound on the hunt. He smelled like a bastard as well, I mutter to myself. Animal skins and some woven blankets cover the bed, but it's not there that I go. I stamp to a wooden chest, opening the lid with a creak of ancient, distressed hinges, to be greeted with a large enough pile of clothing to keep a man adequately covered for 3 lifetimes, not just one, and a fresh smell of cut wood to drive out the stink of my brother. I eye the tunics and trews, the bright colours arresting my attention, and realise my warriors would welcome these. I don't want them. I want nothing my brother owned other than his life, his treasure, and one more thing. The sword I find when removing the clothing isn't a finely wrought weapon. If anything, it's pitted with rust spots and needs a new hilt and guards fitting over the tang to make it possible to use as a weapon. But what it signifies is important. My father should never have given this to my brother. It's the weapon of a warrior, or it will be in time. Now it's mine, and I'm the warrior to wield it once it's repaired. Hurry! Hervok calls to me from where he paces close to the leather covering over the door. He doesn't fear the arrival of my father's warriors. I inhale, smell the burning thatch, and realise this building hasn't escaped the ravages of fire, despite my earlier thoughts. How could it, when the entire settlement burns and the outside is hotter than a furnace, even without the addition of the flames? I'm coming, I glower, pulling the clothing bundle into my arms and carrying the sword as well. Only then do I pause and stride to the bed. It might be the last thing I want on a day such as this, but I pull the blanket free. It's of good quality. It'll have taken the women an entire winter to create, using what little daylight there was, the loom weights clacking against one another rhythmically. I can't allow that to be incinerated. It's worth more to me than those lives which ended here this morning. Is that it? Hervok questions, jerking his chin towards me. It is, yes. Have these. Share them out. I thrust the clothing at him. He eyes it with a smirk of delight, and I notice the rip in his tunic from shoulder to waist as I stride past him and out into the daylight, the sun almost obscured with the thick black smoke. Come on! I lift my voice to bellow to my warriors, well, those who still live, for no doubt we've lost some. Not all the warriors I enticed to my cause were fine fighters. We must leave! I realised then I questioned Hervok as to whether or not the enemy was dead, and not whether or not my warriors live. I curse myself for that. I need to be more careful. I can't reveal such a lack of thought to those who serve me. Our relationship has, until today, been held together by the flimsiest of promises of what would happen when my brother was dead. As I scowl down at the man who lies below, the ground blood-soaked where he's been sliced through his belly, I know a moment of rage towards him. He assured me he could fight when joining my warrior band. I see that wasn't entirely correct. I bend and pluck the shield still clasped in his hand. I won't be abandoning that, although I will leave his body behind. He can fester in the sun like the rest of them. Only then do I pause. No. Once more I remember my father wouldn't countenance this, and neither should I. I might hate my father, but he's a leader of men and a fine warrior. "God day," I call to the closest of my allies. "Waermund," he replies quickly, that single word filled with respect, even though his chest heaves with exertion. "Help me. We can't leave him like this." A quiver of sorrow touches Godday's lips as he sees the dead man. "A pity," he suggests, and it is a suggestion. None of these men knew one another well. They were not raised together. We've not even fought together before today. I collected them in a piecemeal fashion since last summer as my vengeance formulated. Only last night did each warrior eye the others. Only last night. As such, Godday's sorrow is more for a dead man than someone he knows. Perhaps it's also for being reminded as to how fleeting the life of a warrior can be. "We'll burn him. Help me put him beneath those eaves there." I jut my chin where I intend, and he nods and judders. It's not the way of our people to burn the dead, but instead to lay them beneath what earth can be found between the meandering rivers and sodden fenlands. I've no time to offer the dead man, whose name I can't recall, that respect. "Think of it as a pig carcass," I comment. He nods again and bends to take the corpse's feet. I grip the hands and wish I weren't so close to the forever staring eyes. I don't shiver at the feeling of the cooling flesh, but I'd like to do so. "Come on," I heave, and it's a huge effort to get the long corpse anywhere close to where I thought would be a good place for his remains to burn. I wish I'd not done so now. There's another task I must complete before my father's warriors rush here to see what's happening. Finally, we drag the dead body almost to the position, but by now the flames are licking along the moss-stricken thatch. "Put him down. We'll roll him from here." I fear my eyebrows will singe if we get closer. The sound of the body dropping to the ground resounds wetly. I grimace as the head knocks the hard-baked earth and blood pools from the open mouth. I look up, considering if my ancestor Woden watches this. I hope he's happy with what's befallen these people today. He must approve of my need for revenge against my brother. My father has named me as cursed by the gods, Woden amongst them. I'll show him even those believed to be cursed might well be beloved. Quickly, I kick the body as close as I'm going to, only just avoiding a piece of falling wattle and daub fracturing from the burning building rather than being consumed by the flames. "At least he'll burn well," I offer, as it covers him, the hungry flames coming closer. I'd say a few words, but I didn't know him. He gave me his oath and said he'd fight for me, but other than that, I recall almost nothing about him. It's possible his family are dead. I really don't remember the life stories of all these men and women. That, I realise, is something else I'll need to improve upon if I'm ever to be more than just a landless man taking his pickings wherever he can, cast out from his tribe for being a kinslayer. Again, I recall my father and my brother. Both of them knew how to make men loyal, but I've never possessed that particular trait. And my brother's ways were very different to the means my father employed. But then, as can be seen in the detritus, the men loyal to my brother were not warriors. If they had been, they'd not lie dead and forever staring now. No, my father saw what he wanted to when looking at my brother. He didn't notice the weaknesses, the posturing, the failure to do more than bask in the glow of our father's successes. All he saw was a boy who lacked the birthmark covering much of my cheek, and which only now can I attempt to cover with the beard I'm growing. "Hurry!" Hervok's voice ripples through the burning dwellings, the thickness of the smoke almost making it impossible to see. I run back to where I think I found the body of my dead warrior, but I can't find the blanket or sword I wanted. Turning, I curse my stupidity, and then kick something metallic that makes me hop, but at least it's what I'm seeking. "This way!" I shout, hoping those who still live and are loyal to me will heed my call, but not too quickly. I still have something to find. Pulling the blanket bundle into my arms, coughing on the dense smoke, I hurry away from the confines of the ditched enclosure, although I don't stand outside it. Instead, I look around me. I know where it'll be, or rather, I know the location that will have been chosen. I still need to pinpoint that spot. The ditch, the dwellings, the grain store, the hall my brother once ruled the few people here from, they all look one way. I feel the wolf grin on my face once more as I rush towards the side of the ditch, close to where men and women would come within, and where a piece of wood acts as a bridge over the sodden ditch. The ground here is well trodden by footprints and hoofprints. There, I muttered to myself. I'm sure in the winters it's been hidden, the ground will have been filled in, but all the same, there's a slight depression. Pulling my war axe from my weapons belt, I crash it into the hard earth. It's been a dry summer, but the dampness of this place is persistent. It takes more than one impact for anything to happen, and then it's only a shard of dark earth that comes away, releasing the stink of dankness from beneath the crust. From close by, I hear the pounding of approaching footsteps. I need to do this quickly. Perhaps, I realise, I should have trusted someone to help me. Maybe Hervok. Definitely not Cainbrucht. I don't want him to know my promises of reward were dependent on this. I needed him because of his warrior prowess, but he was reticent. I assured him of payment. He eventually agreed to come with me. He was the last of my warriors to join my group only 4 nights ago. I scrabble at the earth, and now bigger and bigger chunks come away, and slowly I create a hole. And then, with a final dull ting, what I'm hoping to find is revealed before me. Grinning, I spread out the blanket and hastily scoop all I found into it, mindful of the hempen sack disintegrating under the dank soil, before gathering up the sides of the blanket and holding it tightly, the broken sword in my other hand. At the same time, I kick the mud back into the hole, hoping to obscure it before my surviving warriors arrive. I hope Hervok's brought my shield. With a final kick, I realise I'm no longer alone. I'm grateful I thought to turn my back on where I found my treasures. Is everyone here? I question, aware more than the burning man is missing. The numbers loyal to me were small anyway, 14 of us. Now they've declined even more. Those who live, Hervok responds without rancour, his eyes appraising me to ensure I have what I came to take, holding my shield alongside his. He knew of my intentions. Only he understood nothing was assured. Good. Now back to the horses, and then we can get away from here before my father's warriors come to inspect what's happened. I think Cainbrucht might complain, but he snaps his thick lips shut, running a hand through the blood-encrusted beard covering much of his chin. His cheeks are a web of scars. He's a man who's fought throughout his life, but has never been rewarded as he thought he should be by my arrogant father. I promised to change that. Come on. I turn, and with nimble steps run from the burning inferno towards where we secured the horses we rode here earlier and left outside the ditched enclosure. There'll be enough animals for everyone to ride away from this place. Perhaps it's better that a few of the warriors perished. At least we'll be able to travel more quickly than if hampered by those on foot. And we need to travel quickly to evade the anger of my father, Wishled, the leader of the comitatus of the Uve. I allow a grin to touch my god's cursed cheeks. He shouldn't have dismissed me as he did. He should have accepted what I was and stopped blaming me for being the cause of my mother's death. My brother was a weak man, and not fit to hold any claim to the men and women oath-sworn to my father by ties of family, or even those who had no choice but to serve him. Now I must continue in my endeavours. I didn't think I'd be overwhelmingly successful, but desperation and pure rage urged me to attempt this. Now I know my future can be made just like my father and his father's father, all the way back to Woden, from whom I claim my descent. But not here. I must leave the only place I've ever known. I can't say I'm sorry to do so, as I swat aside yet another of the pestilent, buzzing insects that have plagued me each and every summer of my short life. Perhaps, I reason, there might be a place where I can live from now on that's free of the persistent flies, as well as my arrogant arsehole of a father, who thought I deserved only to be swatted like one of these insects.
Chapter 3. Meddi of the Eorlingas. I find the small workshop much as I left it, having forced open the shrieking wooden door and the pile of detritus built up against it. For a moment my anger sparks. Eorn took this from me and then failed to show the respect it was due. The bastard. Sian assists me with the strength of her firm arms. I turn, hoping no one sees my triumph turn to desperation, thwarted by a bloody stupid door. As soon as it's finally open, Sian and I share a look of shared victory. I bow my head, touch the ceremonial talk around my neck, and then stand to brush the stone lintel over the doorway with my fingers. I mutter soft words under my breath, audible to no one. Sian stands reverentially aside as the smell of an enclosed space fills my nostrils. A strange combination of the herbs stored within, alongside other, less pleasant aromas. "Can you find the besom?" I ask softly, as I realise the tiled floor is thick with dust and the leavings of other animals. I can smell rat droppings and the astringent stink of their piss. No doubt there's mice within as well. "Mistress." Quickly she scurries away. Alone, I stop myself from stepping within. I need to do this correctly. It's been too long in the making to rush it. I will wait until I can walk over the remnants of the tiled floor and touch all that was once mine. I should not feel so relieved to see it as I left it, but I am, despite my fury that Eorn's not respected its importance. Ellen has not used this space. It remains as I left it on that dark day. I curl my fingers into the balls of my hands so my nails dig into my flesh, holding myself away from what I long to do. I'll wait for Sian. Not that I'll let her clean the space for me. In the distance, I hear my brother and his men taking control of the settlement. Madog will welcome knowing he's the leader here. He's too young to have ever made this place his home, but this is where he should have spent his summers and winters until now. We shouldn't have been banished from here to our poor settlement to the south. Eorn should never have had command of our home. Sian returns quickly. I notice how she limps, favouring the left leg. "Mistress." She indicates a desire to go ahead as she holds a besom tightly in her hand. No, I'll do it. Please, find hot water and a cloth. We'll need to clean the whole space before it's suitable. She nods, not offended by the request. I don't know her, but already I believe we think alike. I don't fear her. She doesn't appear to be apprehensive about being with me either. It's a good start. My relationship with her will be different to the one I share with Marchel, despite Marchel teaching me almost all of what I know. I grip the wooden handle of the besom firmly, my eyes fixed on the harsh bristles, and then I step beneath the roof. The coolness of the room envelops me as I start scraping the detritus through the doorway. I feel past impressions through my feet as they touch the area where no tiles remain, and close my eyes, allowing the rhythmic nature of the action to transport me to another time and place when I was many summers younger and lacked the scars that mark me now. For a moment, a smile plays on my lips, and my hand moves to cup my belly. I'm surprised when there's no gentle curve there. I feel a tear drip onto my lips and lick it clear, straightening my shoulders defiantly. I'll not allow who I was to influence me now. I am different. I am changed, but my ambitions remain. Opening my eyes, my movements are firmer, harsher, a cloud of dust blowing up around me. I direct it towards the open doorway, the scent of burning reaching my nostrils. The fires have been built up in their correct spaces. There'll be hot water and food soon. There's no need to light the fires that will keep the floors warm. After all, it is the summer. With a satisfying scrape, I fling the ratchet and other items, a myriad of dead flies amongst them, through the doorway. "Whoa!" my brother exclaims. I fix my eyes on him, startled from my reverie. "Apologies," I offer, smiling. He grimaces away as my eyes narrow. My brother isn't used to seeing me as anything other than the fierce and fiery seeress I've become. No doubt, my appearance as a besom wielder shocks him. "Is all well?" he asks, the words revealing his surprise. "It will be," I assure him. "And you?" "Yes. Edairn will be burnt tonight. Ellen's under guard. We hold Villa Eorlingas. Now we need to protect it from others who we might have preempted." Place 2 of your shields showing your emblem of the horse at the junction with the road.